Hello crafting friends, this is Elizabeth Stewart with Liz's Agape Cards because I believe that we can use our creativity to send a little agape into the lives of others. This weekend I have done taxes and laundry and chores, real creativity killers, and I decided I would take a little break and play around with making some Stamp Art Designer Series paper, or what I call Stamp Art DSP. I am casing a demonstrator from across the Atlantic. This demonstrator does the most amazing stamp art DSP, and I love watching her. She is very dedicated. She has a live most every day, and if not, she usually plans ahead with a recording. I've even watched her on Christmas Day. So join me in casing Artful Stamping with Ruth. So hello Ruth from across the Atlantic. Artful Stamping with Ruth, you've been cased. So to make our Stamp Art DSP, we're going to be using a lot of products, including some of those that are on their last chance tour right now with Stampin' Up. Two of the inks on the last chance tour are Boho Blue and Wild Wheat. Wild Wheat, I gotta tell you, when I first saw it, I thought, that kind of looks like baby poo. But now it has become one of my favorites. Of course, they made some amazing DSP that featured it, but I'm sorry to see those two go. We're going to use some Lost Lagoon, Petunia Pop, Fresh Freesia, a little Stampin' Spot of gorgeous Grape. See, you can buy the colors in little stamping spots, and you can even ink up your own. I have inked up an empty stamping spot with Night of Navy. The stamps that we're going to be using from the last chance tour are Painted Lavender. Oh, so hard to say goodbye to friends. Cheerful Daisies. I mean, look how loved that one is. Flowers of Beauty and Wildflower Designs. We'll be using Beautiful Butterflies, which was in our mini catalog, but so far doesn't have the words last chance underneath it on the website. I really like butterflies, and I really like butterflies because they remind me of my mom, who loves butterflies. So I think of her whenever I see them. So, hi Mama, I love you. I know you're watching this video. Beautiful Butterflies and Grow with Love. And I like this one because I think of myself as a student herbalist. I am definitely not an expert yet and may never be. I did have to perform a little surgery on the stamp for this Stamp Art DSP. I'll be using mint, and so I cut off the word mint because I certainly, while I wanted the leaves, I didn't want the words mint all over my paper. For a lot of the Stamp Art DSP, we're going to be stamping off, which means that you create a nice little shadow effect by using the same press into your ink 2 times. Little tip, and I even need to remember it often. If you stamp off and go off of your piece of paper, you don't want to go down again because look at that. Now you have a line, and we don't want a line. So you kind of have to, that happens and you stamp off, you would do better to stamp off on your scrap paper and then make your shadow that way. So anyway, let's get going on our Stamp Art DSP. Okay, we will start with a stamp from our Painted Lavender. And we are going to use some Fresh Freesia. Another thing. My mama likes purple, so I enjoy that we're going to have quite a bit of purple on this Stamp Art DSP. some more painted lavender and fresh freesia. Next, I'm going to be using another image from the painted lavender and our wild wheat. And wild wheat is a very strong color. So I actually stamped off, but even was able to do 3 more. When I say stamp off, I stamped off the page. We are going to be using what I call the Daisy filler from the Cheerful Daisies set. And we are going to be using the 24-26, one of the In Colors Petunia Pop. And it certainly does that. It pops. And for the centers of my daisies, I'm using the smaller filler daisy stamp and some gorgeous grape. For the centers of our daisies, we will go back to our wild wheat again. And I'm going to get the bigger daisy center, just be sure that they're covered. Hopefully I can get these straight. I'm used to standing over them, but I don't really want to do that for this video. And from our Grow with Love, like we talked about, we are going to use the mint stamp. I love the detail in the leaves. Ruth does this on her YouTube video. Something like gorgeous stamping. She makes a Mother's Day card and several others I will be sure to direct you to it, because that way you can kind of watch it in slower motion than what I'm doing for today. Oh. Now back to painted lavender again. I'm still going to stick with the Lost Lagoon. And a very good stamp. And now I'm going to use these long leaves from the painted lavender, but I don't really want to do surgery again on more stamps if I don't have to. So I'm going to lay it on the end, wrap those stems around, and hopefully keep a good grip on that. And I don't mind these being a little strong with the wild wheat. Luckily with these watercolors, they're transparent, so that way it doesn't really come across like you're piling images on top of each other. They sort of blend into each other. All right, continuing with our purple, I'm going to take this cute little flower out of Flowers of Beauty. It's not really me. And now we're going to bring in our wildflower designs. And no, I never put stickers on my stamps. I don't know why I don't, but I don't. Tossing my stamps to the side here. I'll have some washing to do when we're finished. I just like that nice little airy flower. Now let's bring in our butterflies. It's spring. We love to see the butterflies. I don't know about where you are, but there's plenty of pollen for them to enjoy in Virginia today. I'm going to do this butterfly in Boho Blue. you close your ink. You don't want your ink to dry out. Let's do this little half butterfly. And we will ink him up with Night of Navy. All right, I think I'm gonna stop there. Like I said, it's lots of fun to make your own Stamp Art DSP. And no two come out the same. I did a little practicing. You even have another piece back here. And it is fun. I know I've been rushing along for a demonstration, but it is fun. So anyway, if you don't have a demonstrator, I would love to talk with you. I love to create, and I would love to create with you, and together we could send some agape into the lives of others. And I encourage you to catch Artful Stamping with Ruth. She does some beautiful projects, and like I said, she's on most every day. I'm on the East Coast, so I usually get a notification that she's going live around 6:30 my time, although that may vary. But yeah, give her a look. You'll thank me later.